Yeah, there we go. Wait for a few people to come in. Let's see. See if we can do what I want to do here. Not doing. Chunky, what's going on, man? First one in. Yeah, this is yeah. Hi, honey. Miss Dee Dee, what's going on? Yeah, this is kind of a little bit of a surprise. I just decided to go live, very much a last minute, no warning, just show up, playing on the computer. Decided to see who else is bored like I am, I guess. Let's see. Oh, I already got some people coming in. Of course, we got Chunky, we got Miss Dee Dee, got my wife Laura in the house. Sean Abney, Miss Chrissy, what's going on? I see Miss Michelle, Steve Ransom, Brian B. What's happening, brother? What's up, Brian B? Mad Cat or Catfishing. I see Rob at Mo Creek. What's going on, man? I see Kelly Bullock. I see Green Machine. What's up, Dan? Let's see who else we got in the house. Mr. Clayton, Big Bill. We got a good little crowd already for not bad for a last minute show, huh? Mr. Ronnie Moore, what's going on? Let's see. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this here. You got to bear with me, guys. I'm still figuring some of this stuff out. I'm gonna go ahead and post the link out here, man. If anybody wants to come up, y'all come on up. We'll talk. We'll go over some stuff. We'll do whatever y'all want to do. It's gonna be y'all show today. Van, what's going on, brother? Let's see. Art, Bone Peaches, brother. Good to have you in here. I guess while we're waiting, the first thing I wanted to talk about is, guys, we with y'all help, we did it. The channel is now at 1K. It's hard to talk about without it getting emotional, to be honest with you. I mean, it's been a long road. We got to the end very quickly, thanks to Chunky and a few others. It's been amazing, you know. So I definitely want to talk about that real quick. Have our first guest popping in. What's up, Kelly? Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I don't have audio from you, Kelly. I don't have I can't hear you. I don't have any audio from you. It's not on this end. All right. Nope. Can't hear you, bub. No, I have no audio from you, Kelly.
What about now?
Okay, now I got you. All right, now I got you. Now I can hear you.
Or is it kind of muffled?
Oh, okay. I got you. So what's going on, Kelly?
Not much. Sitting here playing with these.
Oh, vintage reels. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Getting ready to post them up.
I learned how to cast on one like that.
There's another one.
Yep, Dad still has all our old ambassadors. He's got an old black 5000C from the 70s, the one that has the original power handle on it. Yep. And he's got a green 5000D.
Yeah. This is the 6000.
Yeah.
And then this is the 4500.
A little bitty old reel.
And then a little bitty one.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's what I'm working on right now, is putting them up online, trying to get rid of them.
Yep, I was just kind of talking about the 1K deal. You know, I know the wife and I are really excited. We finally hit 1K, and we were talking about, you know, kind of what we were going to do, what we were planning for, you know, giveaway and stuff like that, and kind of discussing what we might be getting for everybody to try to win. So yeah. It'll be a little ways out, but it's gonna be something good whenever the time comes. I promise that. I'm just glad I can talk for more than 2 minutes without coughing. I've been I've been down for I've been down for over a week with COVID. Finally got past it. And look, it ain't no joke. It ain't fun.
No. We found out today Lynn has got it in
Really?
one of our community. Yeah, he
Really?
posted today that he's got COVID.
Yeah.
And then you got Vans at the end of his.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then Amy, Lee Evans' wife, just got over hers. I mean, there's a lot of us that have been in our community has been affected by it big time.
Yeah. And I know for me, it wasn't, I'm not going to say it wasn't terrible. I guess it was kind of like having a really, really bad cold.
Yeah.
But man, it sucked the energy right out of me.
Yeah.
Like it's a very strange experience. You know, I can't say I was terribly sick, but just exhausted the whole time.
All right. There's Clairview Outdoors. He says, glad you're getting over it, Jeremy.
Thanks a lot, Skip. I appreciate it, brother. Like I said, I'm still I'm still still fighting a little nagging cough. It's about the only thing I have left. I just cannot seem to get rid of it, and it is irritating me. But
hey, make sure one thing I've learned over the last couple of weeks, make sure you get your lungs checked out.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people have been having a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And I don't want to bring it up in here, but that's one of the reasons why my brother's no longer here.
I got you.
He had after having he had blood clots in his lung, and so that's one thing I would push for everybody: make sure you get your lungs checked out.
Yeah, and you see, earlier last year, I actually lost my uncle for very similar reasons. You know, he came down with COVID, and he was one of the people helping the rescuers at Ground Zero at 9/11. You know, he ingested a lot of that, and you know, he had the same lung complications, COPD, and all that as a lot of those rescue workers had, and therefore, when he came down with COVID, it was just too much. You know. Yeah, it is definitely and it's a sickness that attacks the lungs. So if you know even a former smoker or anything like that, you got to be really, really careful with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yep, man. It's like a little tickle that you can't get rid of. Same thing. And look, I've been down in Robitussin for 2 days, trying to keep it at bay. And
my biggest thing is hard. Mine started out as sinus infection and a migraine, and it went into. They said it wasn't. I was negative for it, but I was so sick during those 2 weeks with it, and I'm on an inhaler.
Really?
When needed, because I still have issues, but I'm back to having a sinus infection again.
Really?
So I don't know where it's. Yeah, it's just. I don't know where it's coming from now.
What's going on, Gabe?
There's Gabe.
There's Gabe.
Poor
Gabe. Between me and him and family members being sick, I have not seen him in 6 weeks, 6 or 8 weeks. I have not seen my son, but because between me and him, well, he doesn't live with me full time. He lives with his grandma, and between both families being sick, we had not seen each other since like right after Christmas. No, it's been crazy.
Yeah,
it's been absolutely crazy.
I know Brian mentioned there. What's your watch time hours right now?
Right now I'm knocking on the door of 2,500.
Okay.
Yes, I got a long way to go, and look, I'm patient. You know, no problem. It's gonna get there when it's gonna get there. I probably hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm gonna say it this way, I guess, sooner than I should. Because if you look at a lot of guys that have 1,000 subs, I don't have as much content out as a lot of the guys that have 1,000 subs. I really don't. I think 55 videos I've got out, something like that. There's some guys that just hit 1K that have 100 out.
Yeah. Well, see, I've got 91 and I'm at 467.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't put out stuff all that often, you know, basically due to my work schedule. I don't have every weekend off. I work away from home a lot, you know. We put out stuff when we can, but that's you know, hey, life is life, you know. You You can't get around that sometimes. But hey, we'll get there. That ain't no big rush. I'm good with it. I'm very, very good with it. But we will, I promise you, we will celebrate 1K very, very soon. I got a couple of ideas in mind for some giveaways, and hopefully it's some stuff that you don't see everybody else do. I know everybody has kind of a common theme of things they give away for 1K. I'm going a little different route. Hopefully everybody kind of likes what I decided to do.
You do what you feel you need to do for your channel. That's the biggest thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like I said, we'll just do our thing and keep rolling.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I know Real Time just did theirs, and I mean, look at the stuff that they were giving away. I mean, not a lot of people do that kind of giveaway either. So
yeah.
I mean, he gave away reels like it ain't nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, we're gonna everything we're gonna give away, we're gonna purchase out of our money. So we're gonna discuss what we're gonna do and go with it. That's all.
Yeah.
You do what you're able to do. You say thank you to the people that got you there, and carry on, and you keep moving. So how about the fishing, brother? You been fishing?
I went out Saturday, first time in probably 3 or 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And got skunked my very first time creek fishing in a year. Yeah, it hurt.
Ouch.
It hurt bad. So I've got to get back out there this week and hopefully redeem myself.
Yeah, so I have not been fishing since I fished the Winter Blues tournament.
Yeah.
I have not been on the water since then, and it is killing me because naturally, every time I have off, it seems like the weather's nasty. It's raining. Something's going on where I can't go. So naturally, all this time I've been down and sick. Oh, the weather's been beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Weather's been beautiful, but too sick to do anything about it. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Art says too cold in that creek. I wasn't actually in it this time. I was actually on the bank, and I was actually fishing a spot that I normally haven't fished a lot. So it was going to be. I knew it was going to be a hit or miss.
Yeah. Junkie, I'll give away my boat, but you got to take the notes with it, though. How about that? You got to take everything. You got to take the notes, the everything.
Yeah. What's up, Big Mike? There's how Catfish Grande.
Let's see. I'm trying to keep up. I was thinking about doing some. Of course, I can't figure out how to make it work on here. I was actually playing on Google Earth Pro here on my laptop, kind of scouting some new spots and kind of deciding, what to do when I can finally get back out on the river.
You got it already on another tab?
Let's see. I actually have it pulled up. Let me see. Wait, hang on a second.
You got it on another tab? I can walk you through it.
Let's see. I don't have it on another tab. Well, I have it on the
Is it a file?
Like on the actual screen on my laptop.
Okay.
I had it anyway. Yeah, I got it right here. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see how we can make that happen.
All right. Click that share button down at the bottom.
All right.
So when you click that, it'll come up a little menu. You'll see either slides, video file, or share screen.
Uh-huh.
All right. And you'll click that share screen.
Okay.
And then it'll ask you, bring another window up. And it'll say entire screen, window, or Chrome tab.
Okay, it's just showing me something. Here we go. Yeah, entire screen, window, or edge tab. Which one are we doing here?
Yeah. If it's, I'll do one of the tabs if it's a separate tab than what we're on right now. Now, if it's just your screen, then you'll just do your window screen.
Yeah, see, it's on my screen. But
then you'll do either entire screen or window, probably your just window screen or whatever it is.
Thing is,
whatever device you're on.
Okay, but it's not showing me my. See, it's not showing me the tab that I have Google Earth.
It's up now. You got to change your view. Now change your view to the one that's got the box with us on the edge.
Wait, hang on a second. It's not like it ain't letting me do anything right now.
All right. But right on the very far bottom, you'll see one that's got like 2 little people or 1 little person and a big screen, like you're showing a screen.
Yeah,
You'll click that, and it'll share that screen on there.
Yeah, I see it. Let's see. Window.
There you go.
Okay. So now it's showing that screen. Okay. Can you see what I'm looking at on Google Earth Pro?
I see us in the window. I see our chat.
Okay. Okay. Now let's see. Wait, hang on a second. Uh-oh.
You might have to bring your screen up in front.
Trying to get it figured out.
Yeah.
Trying to get it figured out.
No.
See
was it Gumbo Attitude says you got to click on, when you do that, you got to click on the Google tab to bring it up in front of you.
Okay, watch. Let me. I had to stop sharing to get back to where I was. Let me see here. This is a learning process, guys.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Hey, I'm here.
Very much a learning process here. Okay. How about
there you
now?
Go. Yep, perfect.
Okay, now everybody can see.
You want to take Chunky's message away, that way they can see a little bit better, because they're missing part of the bottom of the thing.
Watch. Let me. Yeah. Okay. Oh, look, I figured out how to.
There you go. Got it.
How to do this? Okay. There we go. Okay, it hid my. Let's see. Come on, bring it up. Bring it up where I can see it. Okay, now it looks like I can see. Can everybody see my Google Earth Pro that I have up on screen right now?
Be able to see it, yeah.
Okay, because I can actually do this and see chat at the same time. How about that?
Yeah. See, that's what I'm doing. I'm able to see it and chat. Yeah, I'm seeing exactly what you're seeing.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, this will work. This will work perfect. No, this is basically this area. If y'all can see me kind of going around with my cursor right here. This here is basically the area that I fish at home. You know, this is in fact, I can kind of zoom out a little bit and show y'all a little out shot of where I live. But right there, okay, there's Louisiana, and you see right at that corner right there where the boot kind of kicks over in Louisiana. That's where I live, right there. And that area, you know, everybody local around here, everybody calls it Three Rivers, because this here, this big river over here on the right side, this is the Mississippi River right here, where it separates Louisiana and Mississippi. This river on the left side coming down, this is Red River that comes through you know, Oklahoma, Texas, and comes down through northwest Louisiana. And
Danny says you need to zoom in on your house.
Yeah, my house is a little more to the left. My house is a little more to the left. But right here in this spot is where the Red River comes to an end and the Atchafalaya River begins. And it just flows on down all the way down south till it drops into the Gulf of Mexico. So this is basically
Gabe says don't give away the hood spots.
Everybody would have to drive over here first. That's the thing. Okay, yeah, don't give away the good spots. Okay, I got you.
Good spots. I got the hood.
I got you. All right. But and you know, I feel that my fishing area is extremely different from everybody else's for a couple of reasons. You know, one is that I don't have any dams in all of the Mississippi River. I don't have any dams restricting the flow of that river. It is wide open, basically from St. Louis, Missouri, all the way to the Gulf. So by the time it gets down here to where I'm at, which this spot is about, you know, let's say 330 miles from the Gulf is where I'm fishing here. It is a monster. It is wide open current. Now, the Red River, it has some dams going north. It has a couple of dams across it, you know, controls the flow. It has pools. like what you guys on the Ohio River and the northern Mississippi are used to.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting part about this area is y'all notice this big cross channel right here. Okay. This cross channel is very important right here to how we fish and where we fish. And I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show y'all why. Okay. And you can kind of get a sense on how big all this really, keep in mind the Mississippi River right here is about a mile wide at this point. Okay. So I'm zoomed out quite a bit. And you see this big channel actually has 3 fingers coming off of the bank of the Mississippi and dumping into this common channel. This one here, this first one, that's a big hydroelectric plant right here. This next one, the center one, is what everybody calls the Old River Control Structure. That is a big dam that is preventing the Mississippi from changing its course to this channel and going down the Atchafalaya and abandoning its channel that goes through, let's say, Baton Rouge and New Orleans. And this third one here is another dam that was built as a backup for this big one here. So these 3 big structures take 30% of the Mississippi's flow and direct it down this channel and dump it here into the Atchafalaya, and it goes on south. Now, for those that have watched me fish in the videos and especially fished in some of the tournaments, anytime y'all see me bump, it's right here. It is right here in this big outflow channel just below this hydro. This area right here, that is our prime time bumping spot. Now, of course, it's not going to show all the big currents and stuff on the map nearly as good. But this is our bumping area right here. We get below this big hydro and we bump down this bank. And this area, this spot along this bank, you can pretty much say has probably won me all except one. It has won me every challenge and every tournament I've ever been in. Is this stretch of bank right here. It is just, when that hydro is flowing, the bait stacks up in here, the fish stack up. It is just a killer spot. And before we really learned how to bump, this current rages so fast that it was kind of unfishable for us. When we learned the technique of bumping, that opened all this up for us and changed the game. Essentially, changed the game big time. It made everything fishable. Another spot that y'all see me fish a lot is, let's see, right here. Okay. Now, anybody who looks at maps to try to decide where they're going to go fishing, something like this is always going to catch your attention. Okay. It's a huge point where the Red River comes in and it converges with this massive outflow channel. And y'all can see already, and it really does look like this, out in the water. But you see this massive mud line. It really does look like this out there. And this is actually the spot where we fished winter blues this past time. My boat was right here off this point, and the current was coming out of here so hard that it was making big eddies in this mud line. And we were literally set up and suspended over these fish in these big eddies and catching those blues. I mean, it is an insane place to fish right here. And the water, there's a big ledge that, because the current's always faster coming out of this channel than it is coming out of Red River. So your fast current is here. So what happens over the years of these big floods, it's dug this massive ledge coming off this point, and it makes a curve coming down this way. This ledge right off this point is over 70 feet deep. It goes from 30 feet to 100 feet right off this point right here, and it's extremely steep.
Yeah, question from Mr. Duggar. He wants to know where Court Spring is from there.
Crot Springs is south of here. Actually, it's not that far. I can zoom out far enough and just about show you where Krotz Springs is. Yep, Krotz Springs should be here. Yeah, Krotz Springs is right here, where 190
But
crosses
you got
the
Gabe's,
Atchafalaya.
you got Gabe's message right above that, so we can't see where you're pointing at. There you go.
Oh, I got the wrong one. Okay. Yeah, Krotz Springs is literally right here. Okay. Right here where Highway 190 crosses the Atchafalaya. Krotz Springs is literally, I don't know, 40 miles downriver from where I fish at.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised anybody knew where Krotz Springs was. I didn't think anybody ever heard of that outside of Louisiana anyway.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the main meat of my fishing, you know, some of my fishing grounds. You know, these are some of my go-to challenge and tournament spots. You know, simply because year after year, week after week, these big areas like this, they just hold fish. You know, anytime you've got a convergence of two big, you know, you can call them two rivers here off of a major point, it's got the potential to hold a ton of bait and a ton of fish. You know, there was a time, you know, before YouTube and everything else, before we had the electronics and everything, we would simply run to this spot, anchor in Red River, throw lines out, and just wait. And we caught a lot of our big fish were caught that way. No electronics, no nothing, because we just knew the fish have to be passing through here. You know, now since we've got good with the electronics and everything else, we can go find them a lot better. Okay, question here. Is some of my fishing grounds brackish water? Not really. The only time they may be classed as a little bit brackish is when the river gets extremely low and the current gets slow during the summer. The salt water will push up into our area a little bit more. That's why we sometimes find, you know, that people catch bull sharks, you know, around home, you know, fairly regular. They'll catch half a dozen or so every year. There are times where blue crabs and stuff can be found on the bridges right there by the house. And I guess at that point in the year, you could probably say it's a little brackish, but normally, no, we're not considered brackish water, even though it's probably a little salty. You know, for some of those species to survive like they do during the summer, I'm sure it's got a little brackish in there. I see my boy Scott's in here, Gumbo Attitude. What's going on, brother? So glad you could come and hang around a little while. But I've always kind of wanted to do this because let's take this from a perspective of new area that I've never been. Okay. Now, a lot of guys I know depend on Navionics. You know, Navionics is a great tool. Will show you a lot of what the contours look like, everything else. The problem is that in our area, in the rivers, excuse me there, a lot of problem is in the rivers, Navionics doesn't show us anything. It doesn't show us any contours. It doesn't show us any depths. It doesn't show anything. So we kind of have to rely on different things. Like for example, you know, this Google Earth Pro is a really big tool for me because at least I can come here and look at a stretch of river, see what's coming in, see what's going on around the area. And I can also see possibly some boat ramps, some access, and I can kind of decide some areas that I might want to target and go scan with my sonar. Like, for example, this area, this stretch of the Atchafalaya River, it's south, a little south of where I normally fish, probably another 20 miles downriver. Let's see. Steve Adams, do they allow bank fishing at that campground by the? Yes, they do. Absolutely, Steve Adams, they do. In fact, just about every time that we are bumping at that hydro, there are people fishing off of, there's two big, there's like some sandbars right there. And there's all the time some people fishing on those sandbars off the bank. So yes, they definitely do allow bank fishing. by that campground. Absolutely no doubt about it. So I've always been curious about this a little more southern stretch of the river. And like I said, unfortunately, Navionics, it won't show me what the contours, what the depth of the river and stuff looks like. And Steve Adams, no, it's usually not that crowded. I mean, I've seen maybe a couple of guys here and there fishing off that sandbar, but I've never seen the bank, let's say, just lined up with people. You don't hardly ever see that, especially for the times of year that we like to fish. You don't see that. The only times I've seen it get a little bit crowded is during the middle of the summer, when we kind of don't want to be trying to catfish it anyway. So no, you should have good luck there. But some of the things I do, because I don't have Navionics available to me, there's just certain things when I'm looking at this river that I like to see. And basically, you can do this with any river. It doesn't matter where it is, depth, or anything like that. I know just from being on this river, in general, this Atchafalaya River is at least 60 feet deep in the main channel, at least. Okay. And I'm gonna try to get to y'all questions kind of as we roll on down here. I didn't intend this for this to be a educational chat, but I guess we're heading that direction now, aren't we? But let's see. Gula Cat, number one bait of choice down there. My number one bait choice is what I call slicker. Everybody else around the country knows it is skipjack. It is absolutely my favorite bait. There's such a gap in how good slicker is versus everything else that I have literally gone out with fresh gizzard shad, not got a bite, then pulled out 6-month-old frozen slicker out of my ice chest, put it on hooks, and started catching fish. That I know that's a crazy thought to some people, but that's how much of a difference it makes down here. We've learned that it's really getting to the point where if we don't have slicker on the boat, it's almost no use us going fishing. That's just how drastic it is. I know it's not like that for everybody, but it's definitely like that down here. It's just a crazy fact that we've come to learn. Catfish and crappie. What's going on, Mark?
Glad you know if you built that house yet.
No, we have not built the house. Yes, thank you very much. He's hard on me, man. But you know what? Somebody's got to be. I'm glad somebody's trying to keep me in line.
Oh, we always have fun with that one.
I'm glad somebody's trying to keep me in line. Nobody else is. Oh, let's see. Fishing Local 252. I see Takedown Catfishing. I see Mr. Curtis. Yep. Rams Bait and Tackle. What's going on? I see Real Beast, Bottom Feeders. Man, we got all kinds of people in here. All the famous people are here. I love it.
Tim Donna's in the house. Scott Swift.
Yeah, we got all kinds of people up in here. Okay. So now keep in mind, guys.
Now, on that picture right there where you're showing. Now, right there where that name is, where you had that name with the river, where all the trees are, there's a little spot that kind of goes in there. Is that going to be where you got a lot of like brush or anything sitting up?
Okay, where at you're talking
about? Go back down where you were at.
Okay, watch.
Right there. Stop right there. Now, where the name comes up, where the name came up, right beside that.
Right here?
To the right. Yeah, right to the right. Where it looks like it's got like a little, like it's inlet.
Okay, I see what you're talking about. Okay, watch. I'm going to zoom in on it. Okay, right there, where that old sandbar kind of comes out.
Yeah, wouldn't that be like more of like a little eddy style? Since your water's flowing pretty good.
Okay, now that.
Am I just kind of stepping too far thinking?
No. You're not at all. But if you look at the river a little more of a big picture, it's a slight one, but you see how there's a little bend in the river here, and the outside bend is actually on this side.
Yeah.
So actually, what you're looking at right there is the slow side of the river, where all this is a big sandbar, and just over the years, trees have grown on it. And right now, I can tell you this satellite photo was taken a little bit of a higher river, and some of the sandbar is flooded, and you actually got a little bit of water on the backside of it.
Okay.
Now, the reason you can tell those things, and this is why I absolutely love Google Earth Pro, is y'all see this button up top right here, the little clock with the green arrow on it?
Yeah.
If you touch that button right there on Google Earth Pro, this little time scale comes up. And every tick on this time scale, it's going to have a different date on it. These are different dates that imagery was gathered on the screen that you're looking at right now. See, right now, we're dated, January of 2022. So if I move the cursor back to January of 2016, look how much higher the river was at that time.
Oh yeah, you can't even see
how this is
flooded
now.
It's flooded out almost into the streets.
This was a really, really high water. Now keep in mind, both these highways here in yellow, those are very tall levees that are keeping this contained. These are 40, 50 foot tall levees. You have to keep that in mind too. But every time you go in one of these tick mark and move it back, now see right here, I can tell you this is a low river situation. Okay. Now look at the same area, Kelly, that you were just asking me about in a low river
Big
situation.
You see
how it's all exposed, and now you can see it's all one big sandbar.
Yeah.
This is one of my big secrets for using Google Earth Pro to try to determine fishing spots, is because basically I can look at this, I can look at an area that I think might be interesting, but I can start backdating the map and look at high and low river levels and say, oh, wait a minute, this is what it looks like when the water's off of it. And sometimes that exposes certain key features that you might not have seen just on a standard view. Like, for example, see these big bank cut-ins right here?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so let me zoom in a little bit more where we can kind of see. Okay. See these big bank cut-ins? Those, without a doubt, are my favorite areas to fish, is big bank cut-ins, because usually when this current's ripping past here, it's going to cause a big scour hole in this bank cut-in, and probably 95% of my big fish, my big blues, have come in areas that look just like this. In fact, if you look really, really carefully in the image, we can really get down and zoom in good here. You can actually see the current scene right here. You can see it.
Yeah, I see it coming out. Yeah.
You can actually see. Yeah. Now, another thing that tells me is that you see how this current scene hits hard and rips out and makes this long curve.
Mm-hmm.
What that tells me is there is something, a point or something that sticks out under here that is causing that current scene to rip away from the bank like that. If this were just a cut in and nothing else, the current scene would be more straight like this. See?
Yeah.
But you notice how it causes this massive turbulence and it kicks out?
Yeah.
There's something there that's causing it to kick out.
Has there not been enough water droppage to be able to see that on Google Earth?
What's that?
Has there not been enough droppage on the water height that you've seen on Google Earth to be able to see what that is?
It's possible. It's possible.
Okay.
Like I could backdate it. I'm gonna probably say no, because whatever's down there causing this big current scene, keep in mind, this is still a little bit of an outside bend. In this river in particular, this hole could very well be over 100 feet deep. We're talking extremely deep waters in my area. Now, in other rivers, it's very possible it could expose it.
Okay.
But we're going to go ahead and backdate it. Okay, see, that's back to high water right there.
Yeah.
See, in this high, fast water, look how hard that current scene comes out. Look at that.
Yeah.
There's something under there that's causing that to kick out. Yeah, see, all the imagery. Yeah, all the imagery pretty much shows it the same thing.
Yeah, see that you can still see the current through that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine though. That at least But that right there gives me a hint as to what's going on down there. So automatically, that spot right there is of very big interest to me, because not only do I have the bank cut in I like to see, I know there's a big scour hole behind it, and now I know
Mm-hmm.
there's some kind of underwater point or obstruction or something that's causing a really big current seam, which the
Okay.
bigger the current seam, the better I like it.
But that's also part of what you were talking to Lee Evans when he was talking about his river, how the river, the stream, the seam coming down on those curves.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's a real big thing. It's a real big thing simply because, actually, I don't have the advantage of having navionics to look at an area and see all these contours. So I've really got to go to the old school way of reading a river. But
Yeah.
what's good is with this Google Earth and now Google Earth Pro, you can read a river sitting at the house. And if you really concentrate on what you're looking at, you can really take into account and say, look for the things that you like to see and at least narrow down your search area. Like, again, I'm going to come here. This is actually a pipeline, that an overhead pipeline that goes across. This isn't a bridge.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought that was.
Yeah, the bridge is actually
on down south. Yeah.
There we go. There's the old bridge right there. And that is an old bridge too. I can tell you right now. That's an old bridge that was built, I think, I'm going to guess and say pre-1920s, I believe, if I remember correctly. So it's a possibility around this old bridge. Like, you can kind of see the old trestle style bridge, like in the shadows. You can see how it's really made.
Oh, yeah.
I've always heard there's a lot of stuff below this bridge, a lot of broken concrete
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which, you can look carefully in the picture and you can tell how fast this river is at most times, because look, these big current seams coming off the bridge pilings.
Yeah, each one of the pillars, you can see that just that one stream coming right straight down.
Yeah. And on average, really in a year's time, if you would average the current speed in this Atchafalaya River, it's actually faster than the Mississippi River.
Dang.
In fact, at one time, I don't know if it still is, but at one time, the Atchafalaya River was the swiftest river in the world. I don't know if it still is. So I'm sure somebody will Google that for me and tell me if I'm right or wrong. But at one time, it was the swiftest river in the world. This is very, very, very fast currents. You've got to, and that's why the Atchafalaya is so deep, because the currents are so fast. It has scoured itself so deep. There's holes out here that are over 150 feet deep. In fact, one of these massive holes that I know is there, I haven't fished in it just yet, simply because it's so difficult to put a bait there. Let's see if I can scroll up far enough to find it. Let's see. That's Woodside. There we go. Now, if anybody knows anything about rivers and hard outside bends and all this good stuff, what does that tell you right there? Ooh. That's a hard. You got a hard outside bend here. All that water is ricocheting and hitting right here. Okay,
hitting that corner. Yeah,
it hits all this corner. I can tell you right now that it's not just a hole, it's a massive trench. It's a massive ledge that rounds this corner. And at average river stays, it's 135 feet deep. Right here around this bend. And on a high river flood situation, it's over 150 feet. 150, 160 feet.
Now that cut in right there in the corner. Now, would there be a lot of current right there, or no?
Actually, this is a massive eddy. In fact, the eddy is so big that all this has collapsed over time.
Okay.
Yeah, all this has collapsed. In fact, this it doesn't show it on Google Earth. Maybe if I zoom in, it might.
Well, you're at 2012, so
okay, all right.
On that one instead of today's picture.
Yeah, Cypress Point. Now,
Okay.
for people who know their cultural history, very little known fact right here. Cypress Point, there was actually a Woodstock type festival held here in 1971. Right here in Louisiana. In fact, it was the last one of its kind in the nation. It was held right here. In fact, many people mistakenly drowned in this river right here because of this big, massive eddy and this deep hole. You know, they went out and tried to, you know, this point used to come out to here.
Yeah.
You know, it's washed in over time. But back then, this sandy beach went all the way around, and people went off on this sandbar thinking they could swim and did not. That's right. That's right, Scott. The celebration of life. That's what they called it at that time. But this sandy beach used to go all the way around, and unknowing people were swept away by the current of the Atchafalaya. But there was actually a big festival held in this field right here. And Steve Adams, you may be correct. Mary Jane may have had something to do with that as to why those people got out in that dangerous water. But right here, this massive hole, and that's what it's done over time. This hard outside bend has just gouged this big ledge on this side, and it's really something to see on a depth finder. You come out towards the bank, and it's 20, 30 feet, and you come out, and you think something's wrong with your fish finder. It just plummets. It's almost a straight drop. It is crazy. But, you know, that's just some of the extreme stuff that we fish in, you know, and a lot of times that's what holds our fish. You know, I always tell people when they come out to a big river system like this, if you just not sure where to start, I always tell people to fish big. Find the biggest ledge, the biggest hole, the biggest point, the biggest something that you can come out and find, and start there. Because whatever the biggest piece of structure is on that river, chances are that it's going to hold some fish. It almost has to, and just kind of work it from there. I'm not going to say that I've never caught fish on a little 10-foot tall ledge. Not going to say that. I have. Yeah. But the vast majority of my fish, and I will say 100% of the fish that I've caught over 40 pounds have come off some of the biggest ledges in my river. The ones that are 50, 60, 70 feet tall and more. That's what has produced all of my big fish everywhere where I go. So naturally, that's what I'm going to stick to. Oh, let's see. Hang on a second. We're going to put that on solo layout. Oh, I like that. Repping for Miss Nina. That's what we like to see.
That's hers.
That's what we like to see.
I got 2 packages just came in.
Oh, okay. Well, we can do a little solo on that.
Yep, I'm getting ready to open the second one. That one's from Nina and Freddie, and they got stickers. There's Nina's sticker.
I have some of those on the side of my motor. I recognize those stickers.
And then I've got another Freddie sticker.
I love that symbol on there.
I love it. I've got both of his sitting back here on the board. So
yeah, I love that symbol.
Yeah. So let's get this one open. This one's interesting. This one's should have a hat. And, looks good on here. Should have a hat and shirt in this one. There it is. That's the black one. Black and red from Mr. Hayes.
There we go. The black and red stands out.
Yeah.
Sweet doggy.
Yep, there's the sweet doggy shirt.
I need to get a recording. I need to get a recording of Brian B saying "sweet doggy." I want to use that as my ringtone. I really do.
And I got 2 stickers.
That is cool.
Yep. So.
Yeah. Yep. Scott Swift says, "My river is fastest 3 times a year. The Mississippi fastest the rest of the time." That's probably true.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's probably true because there's certain times of the year that Atchafalaya is just, man, it's rolling. The Mississippi rolls all the time. I have never been on that river in probably what anybody would call slow current. I think the slowest I've ever been on it, the current was still 2.5, 3 miles an hour. And that is the absolute slowest that I can ever remember that river being. And it was almost a strange experience being on the Mississippi and it was rolling that slow. I'm used to it going, 5-6 miles an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
Enough to where when you anchor a boat, you can't just let the boat slip back and grab the anchor rope. You won't be able to stop the boat. You have to have somebody in the boat throttling it up, slowing the boat down where you can cleat the rope off and then let it go. That's usually how fast and you can hear even a 1/2-inch anchor rope, you can hear it sing in the current. You can hear it humming. That's the kind of current that I'm used to.
Oh yeah.
See, again, guys, right here. This is kind of what I'm looking at with scouting a section of river. Again, just it jumped out on the map at me, but you see this big bank cut in right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we will zoom in a little bit more on this thing. Now,
take Scott's thing off.
Oh, sorry about that.
Good. You're good.
I'm not a professional like Kelly is.
I'm just here to help you out.
Hey,
I'm your co-host today.
I appreciate it, brother. See, and you can learn a lot just from this image on Google right here because, again, some of the things we saw in that other bank cut in, you can see here. You've got this current seam that's coming off. Now, you notice it's not ripping away drastically away from the bank like the other one did. So this kind of tells you right off the bat that, okay, this is a simple bank cut in that's made a big scour hole because of how this current seam kind of projects off to the side. And you can also see all this sand built up on the backside here.
Yeah.
This is basically sand that has been dug out of the scour hole and deposited here. But this also tells you what the back current is going to do. Because if you look really carefully at the current seam, you can actually see how it's starting to arch in at this point right here.
It's almost like it almost loops back in there.
It's anytime you have a big current seam and a bank cut in, you're gonna have a back current. No matter what, you're always gonna have that back current, and you can tell exactly what this one does because of this sandbar here. The back current has built this sandbar, and it's gonna automatically tell you that this is what's going on right here. It's gonna make this loop, come in this sandbar, and pass along this bank. Now, that's important for a couple of reasons. One, if this river is really, really, really fast, okay, a lot of trash in the river, this back current here along the bank is going to end up holding you a lot of fish, especially if you have a fast enough back current where if this bank is a little bit of a straight cut, and you notice all these trees along the bank, I promise you at some point, some of these trees have fallen in this bluff bank where this back current is cut, and you want to talk about yellow cat territory, flathead to everybody else.
Well, I mean, you're not that far from the coast, are you?
No. At this point right here, we're down the Atchafalaya right here. I should be about 160 miles from the Gulf right here.
So you're going to get storms that they're going to come up through there then, anyways.
Oh yeah, all the time.
So I mean, yeah, you're gonna have trees going to fall in there because of the storms, especially weak ones. Any of the big storms, big winds coming through there.
Yeah, a lot of times, what ends up happening, as far as locally, the currents do a lot more to put trees in the water than the storms do. But what ends up happening is trees that get blown in the river upstream all end up coming down here. Because remember, I don't have any dams restricting any of this.
No.
So it's not a big deal for whole trees to be seen coming down this river. It's not. It's not. I mean,
they probably used it for logging at one point in time.
Yes, they definitely did. Now, and I'll tell you another piece of history on this river. Back in the, I want to say the middle 1800s, this river from the mouth at Red River almost all the way down was stopped up solid by a massive log jam. And I mean, it was, I want to say it was 60, 70 miles long. And in the 1800s, the locals cleared it, cut all the stumps, burnt everything because they wanted to use it for commercial travel, for ships.
Mm-hmm.
Back then in the 1800s, this river, in some spots, you could jump across it. It was a very, 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 very small river at that point in history. The problem is once there's two things in history that changed everything, that changed the entire course of South Louisiana. Okay. One is they cleared the log jam. Okay. Starting from, I want to say it started probably about right here and come all the way down. Now, what the Mississippi River used to do a long time ago, if I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more, the Mississippi used to, remember, none of this was here. All this is man-made. Mississippi used to come down here, make a massive turn, come up right here in this chute, make a big turn, and come all the way back.
Okay.
And dump into here. Okay, that's what the Mississippi used to do at the time of the Civil War. What one river captain decided to do was to shorten river travel. He cut this off. They dug this channel here. It's called Shreve's Cutoff now.
Mm-hmm.
They dug this to straighten the path. And it took, they said it literally took like 2 days off of river travel time. Okay, straighten the river out. Eventually, this old channel silted in, and all it left was the southern loop. Well, with that straightening and then the clearing of the log jam, the Mississippi River started dumping more and more water down this channel and down the Atchafalaya. And over the years, it just kept going more and more and more till eventually by the 1950s, you had just as much water coming down the Atchafalaya as you did coming down the Mississippi. And the Corps realized that if we don't do something, the Mississippi is going to completely jump its channel into the Atchafalaya and abandon its channel, which would leave Baton Rouge and New Orleans without drinking water and all kinds of other disasters.
Yeah.
That's when the Corps started the projects of all these locking dams to basically hold the Mississippi in its original channel out the Gulf. Because from this point right here, Red River Landing, it is 332 miles to the Gulf of Mexico, down the Mississippi River. But from this exact same point here on the Atchafalaya River, it's not but 170. Path of least resistance, and it's a steeper fall from here to the Gulf. That's where the water's constantly trying to go. It's trying to come down here. It's the path of least resistance.
Oh yeah, yeah. They don't have all the bends and curves. It's the flow is pretty much straight.
Exactly. In fact, the Atchafalaya here in ancient history, this was an ancient channel of the Mississippi at one time in history. The Mississippi used to be here a long time ago. I was told right about the time the pyramids were being built, the Mississippi was right here.
Yeah, he said both are major shipping ports.
Yeah. Major shipping. In fact, this is the channel that connects the Atchafalaya to the Mississippi, is right here. Now this is used for the barges to go back and forth, and there's a big navigation lock right here that allows the ships to pass back and forth. So anything coming out of Oklahoma, Texas, and all this down Red River, as it comes all the way down here, passes right by my fishing spots, comes up this channel, they lock through here, and they get in the Mississippi. And the same thing kind of back and forth. Freddie, you and me both, brother. I ended up not having to work today, and we were just kind of sitting around the house, and I said, you know what? Why not? Let's go live.
You need to go back. You need to go back about 10, 15 minutes ago. You'll see the Nina's hat.
Yeah. Nina's. It's an awesome looking hat too.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh, it jumped on me.
Yeah, there's two stands.
My OG broadcast brother. What's going on, Stan?
Right before that, he said, "I love when Creole is live."
I don't. You know what? I don't do it often enough. But you know what? That's going to change. It's going to change. I'm getting more comfortable with the using the screens and technology and all this stuff. So we'll definitely do more of this.
Okay.
But
we need to sit down and have you use Google Earth Pro and look at Buck Creek for me.
Buck Creek?
Yeah, Buck Creek. They're in Kentucky. Whenever you get a chance. We don't do it today.
Well, let's hang on a second here. Maybe we can do that today. Let's see. I'm always willing to look at something I ain't ever seen before.
Because it's what I understand from my family and other people who've fished it, it's a big flathead.
Yeah.
Spot.
Let's see. I see Buck. I'm typing in Buck Creek, Kentucky.
Yes.
Okay. Show it to me. All right, you're going to have to tell me, Kelly, if I'm in the right spot or not.
You should be. Oh, yeah, you are.
Okay. Okay, looks to me now. Is this Buck Creek I'm looking at here? This narrow vein.
Well, it'll be once you go south more, you'll get into where it connects into Cumberland River.
Okay.
That's where we want to look at more.
Okay, so we're going. I'm assuming we're going downstream. Let me back out a little bit, where we can see.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're following it.
It's a little ways. Buck Creek is pretty long.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, that sucker's long. Let's see. It crosses Highway 192.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's still Buck Creek here.
Oh yeah.
Jesus, yeah, that thing is long. Man. Hey, what? Okay, it's getting
there
bigger.
We go. Now we're getting into the wider parts of it now.
Yeah, now it's starting to turn into something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm assuming this is where it intercepts the Cumberland River right here.
Yes, yeah, that's where it comes. Yeah.
So immediately, what jumps out at me? I mean, sticking out like a sore thumb. Remember how I was talking about the convergence of two rivers and a point and a mud line?
Yep.
Look what you got right there.
Yep.
Look at that. Okay. That is a very similar fishing situation to what I call our honey hole.
Okay.
On that big that big 70-foot ledge where I catch all my big blues on. Now, I'm assuming that the water is not 100 feet deep at this point.
It could be in certain spots.
Really?
I know because Cumberland River has a lot of spots that are 120, 130 because that's all man-made.
Okay.
The lake is all man-made, and then they widened out the actual creek and the river going through there.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, so automatically this really
now that spot would have to be fished off a boat. If you look at the seams there on the end, on the edge, that's all cliffs.
Yeah.
That's straight down the rock cliffs.
Okay. Which that is good yellowcat territory.
Okay.
It is. But right here, automatically this big point with this big current seam coming out, that right there is a major intersection point for traveling fish, especially all along this side right here. Because I can guarantee you what's going to happen. This point is going to continue out. As best I can tell from the way the current seam is looking.
But you've got different dates for that, so you can probably
exactly
show up whatever it is.
We can bump up. We can bump up different times. Let's see.
So now let's see, it's a lot different. Look at the road, the sides of the land is a lot different.
Exactly. You can see, you can see the bluffs and how drastic they are.
And then you really see the mud around that edge now. You can really see show how the mud was.
Look at this. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wild looking picture. There we go. Yeah, you can tell there's not a whole lot of detailed imagery in this area, but still there's plenty enough to compile something and kind of help you out.
Mm-hmm.
That's an old aerial photo from 97.
Oh, yeah.
But still, you can definitely tell. So I'm going to go back to this one because that's the one that showed us more. That one, there you go. See, that's the one that shows more where that current seam and that mud line is.
Now, I know they're not going to like this, but I fished that area for bass.
Uh-huh.
That's where I caught one of my biggest 17-inch, 2.5-pound bass.
Gotcha.
Right around that corner.
And you see coming upriver just a little bit. We'll kind of look at the territory here, see kind of what we're
now where you see that Buck Creek Bungalow, or whatever the little ends place, that's where we put in at.
Okay. So y'all
put
have to
in
come
right
this
there,
way.
and then we'll come down that one.
Yeah, y'all have to come down this way no matter what.
Yeah, because that's the only closest place to get to it.
Got you. Now you see immediately this big S bend.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gets my attention. Okay.
Okay.
You got a hard outside bend here, then you got a hard outside bend here, and that's gonna bring up a couple of kind of big potential things here. You know, I'm assuming most of the terrain around here is probably rock, sandstone, things like that.
It's trees. It's more cliffs. That whole area is. I guarantee those cliffs are probably 100 feet high or more.
Okay.
Now, they're straight down cliffs where they've just pretty much dug it all out.
And believe it or not, I do have an area on the Mississippi River that's very similar to that. Believe it or not.
Okay.
I do have something similar to that. It's at the end of what we call the Tunica Hills in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very similar. And I can tell you what happens in a case like that. On these hard outside bends, naturally it's going to be deeper water out here. Mm-hmm. Much deeper water, depending on your current speeds and everything else. But what tends to happen on these big high bluff cliffs is you've got trees that'll naturally will just want to come down the river naturally. Well, they'll want to pile up in these areas. They'll pile up here and
we do.
And I promise you, if you come along these outside bends here and along this outside bend here, I guarantee you've got some old sunken logs, sunken trees piled up down in these outside bends.
Come down before you get to when you come around that sharp bend, like move your mouse up a little bit.
Okay.
When you get in the middle of the water there.
Okay.
Right in there is a big, massive tree that's been sitting there for probably, I would say, 8 months plus. And it still sticks out of the water probably a good another 20 feet out of the water.
Yeah.
And there ain't no moving it. It's stuck.
Yeah. And you see, and naturally that's what's going to happen when this, when you got all this water coming around this outside bend, it's just going to pile stuff up along this outside right here. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's naturally going to want to pile that stuff up because we see that a lot on these hard outside bends on the Atchafalaya and the Mississippi. Is they'll take all these trees, stuff that falls off the bluffs, and it just crams them up against that edge. I've seen it to where you'll have a solid log pile sometimes all the way around. Yeah. And the only big floods are really good at putting big log piles in places like this.
Yeah. And see, that will, when we get hard rains, that'll flood up. Exactly. And Jody, yes, I try to get you to go down. The only reason I didn't take you down there is because that's only spot to get in. There's no lights. There's no nothing to put your boat in and take your boat out. There's no street lights down there at all.
That sounds like where I put my boat in. We don't have boat docks or anything. We
have
a
concrete ramp. It's basically the road ends in the water. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
I've got places like that. I've got places to where if a lot of people had to put in these nice, pretty, shiny boats where I put in, they wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And I think not far north of that is where I think my uncle or my cousin Roger, I think he pulled an 18-pound flathead out up north somewhere up that way.
See that right there? See
Mm-hmm.
this? That's
little cut in there.
Now I'm in, you know, and being as you keep mentioning it, I'm in like Yellow Cat, you know, flathead mode right now.
Mm-hmm.
You've got an
If I go there, that's what I'm hunting for. If I go there, that's all I'm doing is flathead hunt.
You've got an outside bend.
Yeah.
You've got a cut in that looks like it's more of a bluff than here. You notice how it looks like it steepens up around here?
Yeah.
And you've got trees that are along this edge.
Yeah.
And if you've got trees that close to the edge, I guarantee you it is full of timber under the water here.
Oh, yeah.
Full of it. So this would be a very, I'd have to take a really hard look at this and all along this outside where these trees are as far as trying to find big flatheads. I mean, it's a very interesting looking spot. I have to give you that. This is interesting.
Yeah. And see, somebody with your knowledge of how to read this and reading areas to fish, see, I don't have that. I can't look at that because I'm having to get out there and look myself, and I don't know what to look for.
Well, it's one of those things. If you have a little bit of an understanding of how water moves,
yeah,
you can start putting two and two together really quick. The biggest thing that I was taught a long time ago, you know, a theory that you have to kind of to get in your head, let's say, is that water is extremely heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Is extremely heavy, and it does not like to slow down or change direction.
Yeah,
it doesn't like it. So anything that acts on that water to try to make it do one or the other is going to have consequences.
Okay.
Anytime you put something in water's way, anytime you ask it to move, it's going to cause damage. Like right here, that water wants to go straight. Okay. It wants to, but it can't.
Yeah.
So you can almost picture this heavy mass coming straight. It doesn't want to turn, but guess what? This is in the way. So you can almost visualize why the bank looks the way it does.
It's cutting away at it. Well, you can see right below it, that little sand bit. So it's been pushing something back toward that spot.
Because remember, it doesn't like changing directions.
Yeah.
So once you finally get it to change direction, it doesn't want to do it again. So the water flow is actually doing this, and the slower water is going to be on this side. And that's when your sediments fall out of suspension and settle out, is on this side. Yeah. So anytime you've got, basically, anytime you see a big sandbar, I guarantee you there's a deep hole opposite of it.
Because I guarantee it is. Yeah, I guarantee, because most of that place it's all deep through there. I'm pretty sure
where the sediment comes from.
It has to be at least, because I know we were fishing in 35 plus waters, and we were bass fishing, so I know there's deep holes through there.
Yeah, same thing here. Naturally, this is an old sandbar that is now overgrown with trees. A very old one by the looks of it.
And see, the last time I was down, that wasn't in there. That's underwater.
I would bet a paycheck that the deepest hole in this whole bend is right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right here. Because look what the water's trying to do as it comes around. That water's getting slingshot around this curve, and it's digging right here.
Yeah.
And if you spend some time on a river just watching the water, just watching what the water does and how it acts, you get to see these things that I'm talking about on how the water behaves and on why it does the things it does.
Yeah.
I mean, water is a very violent thing. And if you sit here and study and watch it for a little while, you'll understand why it carves out these features that it does.
Yeah.
It is crazy. Like you see, like through here, just scanning quickly. I'm going to say from this area through here.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't see very much on the banks that just jumps out and screams at me.
Yeah.
Except for this.
That one spot right there that's cut out.
I'm not sure what's going on right there.
It's just like a little. It's just like a little. I think it's like a little waterfall coming down through there.
Well, that's kind of what I'm thinking too, because you notice there's a depression in the land coming out here, and it looks like this is maybe caved in over time.
It is. It is. So, I think if I remember correctly, there's a big waterfall right there. It's almost got a. You could drive in there, but there's a lot of big tall trees sticking out of it.
Yeah,
and you can see a waterfall in behind it.
Yeah, so that tells me that if this is caved in over time because of water trying to flow out, then there's probably some structure down at the outlet right here somewhere.
Yeah. There's trees laying down in there. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff down in that area.
Yeah, but other than that,
but it's not deep. It's not deep. It's only, I think, when we were down there fishing, I think it was only maybe, I think we were measuring 10 maybe or less.
See, unless there's something else up and down, unless there's some kind of deep hole where they can hide in, this is potentially a feeding area for them.
Yeah,
maybe not a holding area. It just kind of depends on what's up or down.
Yeah, and we were seeing. I mean, we were marking fish all up and down that whole area. I mean, we can see a lot of bait fish through there.
Yeah. But like I said, it's not rocket science. It's just a matter of paying attention to what the water is telling you it's doing. And like I said, if you can just always remember that how heavy water is.
There's another one right there.
Yeah.
Right there, right above that dock there.
Yeah. There's a big there's something going on right here, a big cut in or something like that.
Yeah, see, that's another. That one's a lot deeper. I think that one we measured about 20.
Yeah, see, this is a long, slow, sweeping outside bend, and you can kind of see they got some stuff potholed out here, like old fallen trees and stuff.
Yeah.
When we find them, I personally don't have much luck in areas like this that have a bunch of scattered wood all along the bank.
Yeah.
I've always done well finding that one massive log pile on a otherwise clean and featureless bank.
Okay.
Because you've got a wide stretch that's your biggest structure in a long stretch. And all of a sudden you're going to find that's going to hold fish for you. And that holds true with, that holds true with bass fishing. You know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if
that's what we hit. We hit those spots for bass a lot.
Yeah, if you've got a otherwise clean bank and there's one massive treetop, hey, guess where you're going first?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm always going to go for the biggest piece of structure in the stretch that I'm trying to fish. Now, if it's for blues, I'm looking for underwater features.
See, now you see my waters. See, now you're seeing a lot of my waters there.
Yeah,
the Lake Cumberland and all that stuff.
Yeah. See, I'm looking for, for blues, I'm looking for, like I said, underwater features. I'm looking for holes. I'm looking for ledges. Scour holes, things like that. Like I said, ledges are my absolute favorite thing to fish. Now, for flatheads, again, it's wood structure. But it's not just wood, because I've got areas in my river that I've got 2 miles of bank that's nothing but fallen trees. But I have a very hard time catching them in that because there's really nothing to differentiate where they're going to be.
Yeah.
I have much better luck when there's 2 or 3 big log piles. And otherwise, there's nothing there because now, those fish are going to more concentrate on those couple of areas. It narrows down my search area. Instead of fishing 100 trees, hoping for a fish behind 1% of them, now I'm fishing 3 log piles, and I guarantee there's fish on one of them.
Yeah,
there's just got to be. It's all about my. my kind of mindset when I decide where I'm going to go fishing and how I'm going to fish, I always tell people the same thing. And people kind of, my dad especially used to kind of look at me funny when I would say this. I would never decide where I'm going to go fishing. That's not something that I do. I can't tell you that until I see the river. I've got to see the water, what it's doing, then, and I still don't decide where I'm going to go. I decide where I'm not going to go.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because if in my case, if the current is raging 6 miles an hour, high river, trash coming down the river everywhere, that pretty much eliminates every spot I've got that is in the main channel of the river itself, in the wide open current. There's no use I go there. I know I'm wasting my time. It's not going to happen. So immediately, that takes 90% of my fishing spots off the board.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's good. Because now in my mind, and that's why I love those big bank cut-ins, that gives those fish an opportunity to be close to the current where they want to be, but be protected from all that trash and all this other stuff coming down the river. Now in my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to go find my bank cut-ins. I need to go find my big current seams and fish just on the slow side. And I've caught really good fish doing that.
Yeah. Well, Haz, since you're in here.
See, Haz has made it into the house. What's going on, Haz?
Since you're in here, Haz.
Look at that.
There's the hat.
Look at that right there.
Yep, that way. Just keep on trying how my camera's set up. So.
I had to read that comment twice to be sure, be sure to want anybody talking about nothing they ain't supposed to talk about in chat between her and Mike Greenwell. I was like, wait, what? And I read it again. I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. Yeah,
I appreciate it, Haz.
A couple of feet deep across the bottom of the river. Excuse me. Yeah, and sometimes, and it all depends on the river you're fishing. I know not every river in the country has these, extreme features like the river I fish does.
Yeah.
There's some rivers out there where a 10-foot ledge, that is your extreme feature.
Oh yeah.
There are some like that. Like I said, just because I've got an 80-foot ledge that I can go fish does not mean that if you don't have one, you're not going to catch fish. Find that biggest piece of structure that you've got in your river. Now, see, Stan and them have kind of an interesting situation in their area where their biggest piece of structure may be an old sunken barge or a sunken ship. Yeah, guys, we got a couple of bots in here. If somebody wants to, let's see. I think I can do some of that from right here. I got one. We going hunting, baby. Troll season is open.
There you go.
No limit.
Yep. We got some Russian bots, apparently.
Oh yeah. I already know where they come from.
Yeah.
I guess that's how you know you're famous when you get the bots coming in.
Oh. Somebody blocked Scott Swift.
Uh-oh. That wasn't me, was it? No.
It's showing up on mine. I don't ever see that. I don't see anybody that takes out the bots. So it looks like you may have blocked them by accident.
Uh-oh. I wouldn't. I don't think it was me. I don't know. I can't do nothing about it. I can go back after the stream and I can undo it. I think I can anyway.
Yeah, you can go into your settings and unblock them from actually in your settings.
Yeah. Okay. I got it.
Yeah. Sorry, Scott. I know you can hear us, but I know you can't chat.
I don't know. Oh, Freddie said he fixed it. Okay. All right. It was
okay.
me. Sorry about that. I guess I was a little too slow on the button. I must have hit it and it jumped on me.
There
See,
you go. He
I
said,
just
I'm
need.
here. He
I
said,
got
I'm
some
here.
good. Yeah, yeah. I got some good mods. I need to let them do their job. I need to quit trying to do everything myself. That's my biggest thing. But thank you all.
I have to say, I appreciate it, Creo. You actually helped me a lot, especially if I can get out on a boat and get out there and actually fishing more. So that helps me to know the spots that I've been fishing for bass is actually the spots that I need to be fishing for catfish.
Well, I've heard that more than once, that if you understand the way a bass thinks, you're well on your way to understanding how a catfish thinks. They're both predators. There's nothing. The only really big difference between a bass and a catfish is the water conditions they prefer to live in. That's about the only difference. You know, a bass doesn't like all the current, all this stuff that the blues do, and you won't see a bass down deeper in the heavy cover like you will a flathead.
Yeah.
But still, the
See,
basics are still the same.
We sink trees. We'll take Christmas trees and we'll sink them in concrete containers, and that's where we'll go and we'll fish them, because that's where the crappie and the bass will show up on those sunken trees.
Oh yeah, see, every year after Christmas, there's always a big drive for Christmas trees. I'd love to know how many tens of thousands get sunk in the lakes around here for sac-a-lait fishing. You know, same thing.
Buddy of mine that does tournaments, he drops about 50 trees, and he pinpoints them. He'll put them on his GPS and he'll pinpoint every single one of them.
Yep.
So he knows that's where he's going to go out and fish them.
Yep, there is a ton of them out there, because they got a lot of really good sac-a-lait fishing lakes, you know, around home here, and I'd love to know how many Christmas trees are in the bottom of those lakes.
And when it warms up, you bring that boat. Come on, me and you are gonna go flathead fishing. Let's do it. I'm so ready for it. I'm ready to hit that creek and really get on.
Hey, look, now. Here's the big You my mic. Whew, and cough can't quite get rid of it. Now, okay, here's the big question. I know in my river, 99% of the yellowcat get caught on cut bait, not on live bait. Is that the case in your area?
Well, most of the time it's bluegill, so I would say cut bait or hole.
Yep. See,
but I also caught a channel cat on chicken. So it's
see here, and I'm really starting to think that that's got more to do with our muddy water than everything else. I think their visibility is just a little more limited than most areas, and I'm starting to think that the yellowcat here are just a little more scent reliant than maybe some, let's say, in the Tennessee River, where it's more clear and they can see, you know, a little bit better. That's just an assumption on my part. It could also be, and this is something that Epic has mentioned more than once, it could also be the fact that where there's big blues and big flatheads in the same body of water, they tend to compete somewhat for food.
Yeah.
Therefore, the flatheads are a little more prone to hitting cut bait just because it's a competition thing.
Now, if we go out, if it's me and Jody, we're going to probably use skipjack and shad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same for us. I mean, like I said, if we don't have Slicker with us, I don't feel good about my chances of catching nice fish. Now, I've caught a lot of fish on shad. I've caught a lot of fish on chicken. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I've caught a lot of fish on Asian carp. I've caught a lot of fish on a lot of different baits. But I'm talking 40 and over. I don't feel good about my chances of getting one if I don't have skipjack in the boat. I just don't. I've only caught I've only caught one fish over 40 pounds. No, I've caught two fish over 40 pounds on something other than skipjack. Two. One, and that was caught before I even started filming for YouTube. I caught a 44-pound blue on a 13-inch long gizzard shad that I cut a flapper out of.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of two fish we caught that day. The only other big fish I've ever caught was, at one time, it was my PB. I had caught a 53-pound blue on a piece of chicken bumping. Because I really think I hit him in the lips with it, and it made him mad. And
Probably, yeah.
But hey, but that's, you know, not to say it never happens, but of all the other dozens and dozens and dozens that we've caught 40 and over, I can only think of two that weren't on skipjack. So that's all I need to know right there.
Yeah. We normally down here, I usually have bluegill, because it's usually, I can go right there at the bank or at the dock, and I can catch handfuls of bluegill all the time before we go out. So
and you see, that's a terrible bait for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably, if I had a top 10 of baits, I don't know if that would even fall in the top 10. I can't catch anything on them. I've tried them cut. I've tried them live. I don't know. We just don't have those kind of waters here, I guess. I don't know.
Like, we'll have a lot of, like, I use those Patriot floats. I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put a live bluegill underneath it and let it swim, you'll get hits.
Oh, now don't get me wrong. If you put a big brim on a Patriot float and chunk it in the river here, it'll get hit. It won't be by a catfish though.
Oh yeah.
It'll get hit by about a 7-foot alligator gar.
Yeah.
Which is definitely something we will be doing this year.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the time is right, a little more closer to this summer, whenever because the alligator gar and the catfish spawn about at the same time, kind of in the middle of the summer when it's really hot. But that's the best time to catch garfish is when they're spawning. So while the catfish are on the nest, guess what we're going to be doing?
Yep.
I've got my brother and I have.
And we've got them here. We've got some nice gar here. I've actually caught a gar when I was a teenager. And the weird thing is, we were camping off the lake, and I was fishing off the campsite down into the water. So it was probably 10 feet down. So I was throwing out there. I pulled up a gar all the way up, hooked him right into the mouth.
Yeah.
And pulled him up. I didn't know what he was. I had no clue what he was. My uncle's like, cut your line now. He's like, get that thing off your line.
Now, and look, a lot of people look at me funny when I tell them this, but a good fresh alligator gar, that is my favorite fish to eat.
I'd say it is. It's good.
Hands down. Look, Sac-A-lait is good. It's not as good as the gar, though. It's not. Now, I will say this. Down here, I guess it's just brackish enough. They taste much cleaner down here than they probably do for y'all up in the northern states. I will say that. They don't have that real fishy taste down here. They're really, really, really clean tasting.
Gumbo Attitude says, can I fry some gar tonight?
If you invite me, you can. He lives just down the road from me. Invite me over, you can cook.
He said salt water. He said salt water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, which really the garfish we have technically are saltwater gar. I mean, it's they travel back and forth. It's pretty much
you got that mixture. You got that mixture of both salt water and fresh water.
Yeah, like I said, depending on time of year, our water is, I guess, slightly brackish. Enough to where we will have saltwater species in the water.
Well, you caught that one. You got that one in that tournament. That was saltwater catfish.
Yep. That little I caught that gaff top. That was during one of the 1-versus-1 tournaments with Mark.
Yes.
Lyle and I were fishing against each other.
Yep.
And I haven't caught many. I think that's the third one I've ever caught in the past couple of years. But same thing. Middle of the summer, river's low. We'll catch things like that. Earlier that month, somebody had actually caught a stingray under the bridge a couple miles downriver from where I was at. And they were actually catching speckled trout and blue crab under that same bridge. Yep. It's just, certain conditions have to exist for that to be possible in my area. But a really, really low and slow river, they will come up. Even flounder, believe it or not.
There's a comment from Tim Donna. So he's watched 3 videos today and learned so much.
Hey, I appreciate that. And look, I don't claim to be an expert on anything. Trust me, not because.
But it's not just being the expert. It's being able to read stuff on the rivers and on the creeks, to be able to read certain spots that most of us don't really look at as much.
Well, I think some of the handicap in a way is electronics. I've only had my big Lowrance on my boat since I bought my boat a year and a half ago. Before that, essentially, we did not have electronics on our boats. We had a little cheap little fish finder, but we never turned it on.
Yeah.
We wouldn't use it for anything. So when we would go, we were solely dependent on, reading the river, throwing the lines out, figuring out where the holes were, and just understanding a little bit about the river to kind of narrow down where we wanted to fish. It was out of necessity that we learned what to look for. And of course, talking to some locals, getting some good tips and things like that. Now with the electronics, I can read the river real quick, look at what I need to, and then the electronics are going to confirm what I see and possibly show me a little detail that I didn't know was there.
Yeah. Let's see.
I see something from Stan. Yeah, striper, ray, flounder, blue cap. Yeah, see, Stan and them kind of have a very similar situation, especially with the James being tidal. They get a lot of those saltwater species that come in. Fact, I mean, look, we do not have the large sturgeons. And yes, I said it. This is my chat. I can say it. Just for you, Stan.
$5 for the swear jar.
Yeah, right. But we don't have those large species of sturgeons like they do. Now they have. I couldn't tell you what species it is. I have no idea. We do have small ones in our river. Every now and then one gets caught by accident, but they're maybe 24, 30 inches long.
Yeah.
They're not. I can't say in my life I've heard of anybody catching a sturgeon more than 36 inches long. And then it's extremely, extremely rare when that even does happen.
Yeah.
The only time I can remember those being caught is growing up. We used to go down below the hydro and we used to bank fish with live crawfish to try to catch goo, freshwater drum. Now, again, it's one of our favorite fish to eat. We love eating the freshwater drum. And I remember twice us catching a small sturgeon by accident on those live crawfish. But like I said, some small ones, I myself, Curtis, have never caught a bull shark in the area. I wouldn't mind. Hooking into one. Now, getting it in the boat, that ain't going to happen. But I really wouldn't mind hooking into one. If I had my other phone with me, I could show you a picture of one that got caught a few months ago in one of the spots that I showed y'all on Google Earth. Probably on average, I'll say about half a dozen get caught every year right here in the river. Again, same thing. It seems like they always get caught during the summer, low river, low current, and they come up. I've heard stories of bull sharks being found all the way up, like past St. Louis. you know, going way, way, way upriver. I can't confirm any of that, but I can tell you 100% they're right here by me. Yeah. I mean, they're not infested with them, let's say. I can't tell you I've actually laid eyes on one alive myself, but they are definitely here. I mean, the commercial fishermen have proven that to me. They're definitely in there. None are ever real big though. 4 or 5 foot, something like that's about the biggest ones I've seen. You know, coming out of nets and things like that.
Stan says, "I'll tell you what species just asked me about it," and Jody's comment there.
Hey, you know what though? Look, it's all in good fun. Everybody loves to give Stan grief on that, but let me tell you one thing right now: if that would have been me that caught that big old sturgeon, I would have a billboard rented on every major interstate around the country with that picture on it. Okay. The whole world would know about it. Okay. So you know what? I don't begrudge him a bit for telling that story every chance he gets. I don't blame him a bit. I'd be shouting it from the rooftops if that would be me. I promise you.
Where should I put it?
I'll tell you what, that far right side looks like it needs a little.
Yep. Over here?
Well, yeah, there you go. That's that side.
This side.
Right? Other side.
This side.
Yeah. Below the square one. There you go. Right there.
Right there?
There you go. There you go. Nice. He looks all even now. See?
Yeah.
Gotta have it like that.
Now, see, I gotta start another roll down here. Start coming across.
Oh, okay. Well, see, now that you've got those even now you can start your new row going down the other side.
Yeah. All right. So, anybody start sending me your stickers?
Yeah, I know, right? I'm not sure. No, yeah, I know you're not sponsored by Monster Kelly. You got that because of the business you're in, right?
Well, no. That was when I was working for Coke.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was actually one of our displays when we did the Monster Energy drink. That is a full-size replica of the Monster NASCAR hood.
Ah, cool.
So it's got the pins and everything down here at the bottom.
Yeah. So Scott, don't worry. We're not all that fancy in this chat. Trust me. You're amongst similar people.
Yeah, I'm not sponsored by nobody.
No.
Nobody.
I do have one major sponsor. My wife. She's in the next room. That's my sponsor.
Yeah.
That's my sponsor. That's my sponsor and financial advisor right there. That's about the closest as I got.
Oh yeah. I'm not sponsored by nobody. Absolutely nobody.
Nope. And you know what? And I'm just fine with that because I can use the gear I want. I can use all the stuff. Mm-hmm. I can go where I want. I can talk to, I can talk about whatever I want to who I want. So hey, it is what it is, and I get to represent the stuff that I like fishing with. It's
absolutely
simple as that. If I don't like it, I don't use it.
And trust me, Coke was good for me. I mean, I've got a lot of my racks and shelving that I've got in the house is from Coke. Displays that we use. So
yep.
I turned a little Coke rack into a billiard rack, so it holds my pull sticks and all that stuff.
Sean T, I actually just now, when I saw your comment, I just now looked at my phone. I didn't know I had got a text. But no, unfortunately, I will not be going to CatCon this year. I just ain't gonna be able to make a trip like that with my work schedule. I don't see that happening this year. I don't believe.
Stan.
Eric Massey, what's going on, man? Good to have you in chat with us. I see Mr. Ian Tipton. He's been a very big supporter of mine, especially here lately. Comments on
Yep.
Man, he's got comments, I think, on every video I've ever made. And I appreciate it. I love all the comments.
That means he's been binge watching.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it kind of tickles me when I get comments on videos that even I myself haven't thought about or watched in months and months and months. Because I don't know about everybody else. I go back and I watch my own stuff for critiquing purposes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll always go back, I'll watch an old video of mine and say, okay, I don't need to do that anymore. Or, okay, we can do that different, or we can make this better, or we can, I am my toughest critic. So that's kind of my way of keeping myself in tune to what I need to be doing. Let's see, Brad. It is, I want to say it's like 12 hours from my house to CatCon. I'm pretty much 12 hours from like everybody. Like, it seems like
I think we were talking about coming down there or something, talking about fishing or something, doing something. I think you were 9 hours or something like that, 9 or 10 hours from me.
I know from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, I'm 9.5.
You're 9.5. Oh gosh, then you're old. See, I'm 3.5 hours from Pigeon Forge, north.
Yeah. See, I'm 9.5. I'm 9.5 or 10 from Pigeon Forge, because we vacationed there a couple of times, and I know that timing pretty well. And plus, I've got family that lives in north of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
A couple of people that like your accent.
And my wife would probably fuss at me hearing me talk, because she knows it's not 100% right now. I don't know why you put a camera in my face. It dulls it down a little bit. I don't know why I do that. I have no idea. If she'd be sitting on the side of me talking to me, then it would really start coming out. But then y'all wouldn't understand a word I was saying. It'd be a whole different thing.
Oh, yeah.
One Life Man. That's a name I don't think I've seen in chat before.
No, that one, and there's a Mia Bale in here too.
Welcome, brother. Oh yeah, I love seeing the new names, especially for just a random go live, come hang out kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, I figured, why not? I didn't get to do it this weekend like I wanted to. I just didn't wasn't feeling quite good enough to go live for this long. Luckily the cough medicine has toned it down just enough to let me talk for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But there's Thomas. There's Thomas with Laughing Cat. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Thomas?
2 weeks. Him and Shorten will be on the show.
Awesome.
So I got them not tomorrow, but the next week.
Yep. The winner of the original Iron Cat. I love me some Shorten.
Yeah. So we'll have them as a couple. How's your schedule looking so far for tomorrow?
Yeah, hopefully
still up in the air.
Yeah, well, what's bad? Like right now, I'm like, even as we speak, I'm waiting on a text from my job that'll tell me where I'm going tomorrow. If we're going just to the shop right here across town and going to work, hey, no problem. I'll be back home at 4:00.
Yeah.
But if I have to go to, let's say, New Orleans tomorrow, then there's no way I'll be back home in time to be able to do the show. I'll barely be back in time to do the show with Roger, much less something earlier. Yeah. So it's always a day by day. Let's see where I have to go kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's just the realities of it.
Oh yeah.
We all can't fish for a living. I don't think any of us fish for a living. Not that I know of. I wouldn't mind it though.
No, not yet. At least not yet.
Yeah, well,
any of us.
Well, not yet. Yeah,
J-Dog might be. J-Dog might be.
He might be. You never know. You might be. I've toyed with the idea at certain times to go get a captain's license and do like guiding and stuff like that. But the problem is, in my area, trophy catfishing isn't nearly as popular as it is in other states.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure the demand is there for a guide service to do that stuff like it would be, pretty much everywhere else.
But I mean, you're on two different waters that would have big fish.
Oh yeah.
So to me, a guide service on that would be perfect.
And I want to say there's one or two guys around here that do guide trips. I'm not extremely familiar with them, but I want to say there's one or two that do it. You just don't hear about it that much, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Kelly, I tell you what, I feel the medicine wearing off. I don't know how much longer I can talk without coughing up a storm. I can feel it already. I appreciate it, man. Look, you did me a big favor. You come up, you helped me out. Hell, taught me how to share screens and everything. It was a great thing. I really appreciate everybody coming in, hanging out with me. I mean, it's been almost 2 hours now.
Yeah.
It's been a great live. Hopefully I can do more of these in the future. Kind of do some stuff on Google Earth Pro, show y'all a few things and, a little bit of insight as to how I pick my fishing spots. Yeah. Maybe it might help some of y'all out too,
Well, my thing is like kind of like today. I think this would be a good thing for you is you could do a little bit of your stuff. Let's pull somebody out of chat and say, hey, what waters do you fish? Let's pull up your river, whatever. Yep. And then just kind of help them a little bit, just try to each one. I think that'd be good.
I've actually had that thought. That's why when you were talking about that creek that you fish, I said, well, hey, let's pull it up. That was I had the same thought, and that was my test run right there. So you and I are thinking alike. We'll definitely have to do this again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just holler at me if you want me to help you out. I don't care to.
Hey, that'll work, brother. I appreciate it. Look, thank y'all, everybody. I appreciate it. Bon pêcher, everybody. Love y'all.
Yep. See you.